Do you think more men will wash their hands in a non-gendered toilet than in a male toilet? It's just this is the time of year that lofts really
really
earn their
this
keep.
time of year.
Really earn their keep.
This was Ferrari's first last place since Abu Dhabi 2009.
Wow. Everyone and their nan pits.
Everyone and their mums is pitting around here.
Because Hannah Schmidt said so. Yeah, and it is exactly as we called it.
We called it on this podcast, yeah.
Lando needed to come third. He qualified second, lost a place at the start, shock, and then finished third.
Yeah. It doesn't matter whether that's on a straight or a corner, it's not the track.
No.
And I think that's where people like Brundle get a bit confused. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Ahead at the Apex, the general motorsport podcast of the century.
Certainly of a century.
Of this century. Today, we are doing our penultimate recording, aren't we, Tim?
Yep. Wrapping up the year.
It's our, oh, hell, we didn't think about the last 4 races of Formula One podcast.
It's a recap.
It's a podcast recap.
No, it's a recap in the form of a podcast.
It's yes. It's a recap podcast.
There you go.
Basically, we sort of, through scheduling and other events and just life and the way that we record these podcasts, we missed we didn't talk about the last 4 races. Not purposefully.
Yeah. Well, it was all quite quick. It was all in very quick succession.
Yeah, I mean, the last 3 happened in 3 weeks. And we did
then we said, okay, we could record, but the title decider is this weekend or something.
So
and
what's
we were
the
like,
point?
oh, well, we'll wait. And then now we've waited and it feels too long. But I think it probably was the right decision anyway.
Much like the title decider, it feels too long.
Very true.
So, to put it into perspective, what we're going to talk about is Mexico briefly, Vegas, Qatar, Abu Dhabi, and we're going to do sort of a catch-up of just, put into context what we're about to talk about. Then we're going to play a little game called Ahead at the Apex.
I love it.
You see what I did there?
I think it's a great name.
Then we're going to do a segment I'm calling The Legend, the Runner-Up, and the Rookie.
Great. I'm glad you came up with that by yourself.
Brilliant. Then we're going to talk about McLaren's flaw conspiracies.
Ooh.
Yep. And then, as you can see in the last bullet point, we're going to talk about woes for Hamilton. Because, oh boy, has it been terrible. Woeful, in fact. Are you liking the...
I feel very far away from you.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah. We maybe should have kept the tables together.
Yeah, we're playing with some new formats.
Yeah. We're doing a double recording. Let's just be honest about it.
Great.
We're
I'm
doing
so
a
glad I
double
brought
recording.
my extra t-shirt in.
Hey, come on. It's fine. This room is no longer available from tomorrow. So we had 2 things to do and 1 night in which to do it. So here we are, in for the long haul.
Tonight's the night that I
You are in for a 5-hour podcast. We're doing a double recording, so we're expecting some guests later. So we thought we'd split the V sort of thing out a bit and give a bit of space. We were very next to each other last time. We couldn't talk. I couldn't look into your eyes and talk. So here we are. How are you, man? How have you been?
Yeah, I'm good. It's Christmas is around the corner,
isn't it?
I'm ready for a break.
Yeah,
I'm ready to be not harassed is the wrong word. I'm ready to be at my mum's beck and call.
Sure. What have you been doing with your life? No, I'm doing an impression of your mum.
No, my mum knows what I'm doing with my life. The impression will be, oh, Tim, do you mind going in the loft again? That's normally what it happens to fall out as. But yeah, so I'm excited to go in the loft. It's going to be brilliant.
I have spent a lot of time over the last few weeks in my loft, bringing down.
It's just this is the time of year that lofts really
They come
really
into
earn
their own
their
at this
keep.
time of year.
Really earn their keep.
Yeah,
Shout out to lofts.
yeah. You don't really have a loft in your. I mean, it would be weird if
I
you
don't
had
have
a loft in your flat.
I don't have a loft anymore. That's why when I go to mum's, I need to make up for all of the loft time.
Imagine if you went in your loft and you just went into your neighbour's flat. There's like, sorry guys, just getting the Christmas tree out.
Thanks so much for keeping it here all year. Really appreciate that.
As you can tell,
see you in a month.
This podcast might feel very, very, very casual because it has been a long year for us. We took on this project, didn't we? And
4
we thought,
p.m.
yeah, it's 4 p.m. It's the last week before Christmas, last week of work before Christmas.
I've not eaten
and actually
since
the last week
lunchtime.
before Christmas. It's over a week just over a week till Christmas.
Don't tell me that. I've not bought anything.
Well, yeah.
I'm screwed. I'm so screwed.
And it's been a long year for us. We took on this project back in like March, April.
Yeah.
Something like that. And we said, yeah, this will be fun.
and then suddenly there's the
turns out-
commitment. Ooh!
Turns out it's actually quite a lot of work running your own podcast and being your own producers and being your own advertising campaign, marketing team and all sorts.
It was so much work that the marketing team resigned halfway through the year.
It turns out that's quite a lot of work. So are you ready? Should we get into this?
Let's go.
All right, Grand Prix roundup time, Tim. As you just said when you saw this sheet for the first time today, what the heck happened in Mexico? Well, don't you worry, because here it comes. This is the Mexican Grand Prix is the point at which Lando's title fight turned, because this was the first moment since May that Lando had led the title.
Yep.
And qualifying was tight. Norris put on pole. But then it was tight behind. So he was 0.3 seconds clear of the Ferraris, but from the Ferraris down to P10 was like the same gap, 0.3 seconds. So Lando clearly had the fastest car. We'll get onto that in a bit. Turn 1, you might remember, was absolute chaos because you had Lando on the inside playing the defensive game and everybody trying to get a slipstream. You had Charles just behind him moving Lewis out, and then you had Verstappen right up on the curb, and then he did the whole, if you're turning hard enough left, you're going right.
That's the second car's reference, and we're only 5 minutes in.
Yeah, excellent. And then obviously he gave the place back, and then he ended up behind Hamilton, and then there was the banging wheels at turn 1 and turn 2. Then Lewis forgot which way the track went, forgot the race director's instructions, was given a penalty. Arguably Lewis's only good performance in the second half of the season, but we'll save that for later. Norris just waltzed away. Verstappen was behind Leclerc for most of the race. Behrman was doing the DRS train in fourth, putting in an absolutely phenomenal performance.
Yeah.
Then Sainz spins at the end, brings out the late VSC. Verstappen can't get past Leclerc. Could have cost him the championship.
I remember
Leclerc,
this? Leclerc had that really dramatic overtake at the end. Was that in Mexico?
No. Leclerc was in second. I don't think he overtook anybody.
No, there was one where he overtook Max on a restart after a safety car. Maybe I'm wrong.
Not this one.
Maybe I'm misremembering. Anyway.
Not this one. So Sainz brought out the late VSC. That stopped Verstappen attacking Leclerc. That stopped Piastri attacking Behrman. And thus, Piastri finishes fifth. Norris finishes first. Takes the lead in the championship. And we go on to Vegas, where things get just a little bit spicy in the championship, didn't they, Tim?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, hang on. I think Mexico was, as you said, it was Norris's weekend, but it was more the failings on the Piastri side of the garage, which allowed that. So you mentioned he qualified quite poorly. He also had a terrible start, dropped from his 8th place down into the midfield. Yeah. And, well, it was never... The car is good, but it's not that good.
By this point in the season, yeah.
Everyone is sort of converged. We've spoken about this before, how you have this natural meeting at the end.
Convergence.
Of not just a season, but also a regulation period.
Yep.
It was both. So he was a bit stuck. It shows the importance of qualifying. Hats off to Norris, who did not mess it up. But
he has only had
really
two
strong race.
back-to-back runs of form, and this was the last one, right? He won in Brazil, and then he won in Mexico. And then things go down the toilet a little bit for McLaren. So Vegas, everybody expected McLaren to turn things around from last year. They had a poor 2024. The car looks much better this year, but Verstappen has typically dominated in Vegas the 2 times it's been run before. Heavy rain in Q1, so obviously that meant Lewis Hamilton and Kimi Antonelli were out. And Albon hit the wall. This was Ferrari's first last place since Abu Dhabi 2009.
wow.
So when you've just peaked at what we're about to do later, which is our driver ratings, and you said, why has Hamilton got such a low grade? Spoiler. That's why. Q3 was eventually on intermediates, and Norris did indeed get pole position from Verstappen, with Sainz in third.
Yeah.
Very impressive form.
Big performance.
Very impressive. Piastri was down in fifth. Seemed like at this point, Piastri's title fight was dwindling somewhat. Race starts. You remember the race start when Norris dived?
Norris had this very, very, very aggressive lane change, sort of forgot his exit and
didn't mirror signal maneuver.
And then overcooked it on the braking point.
Yeah, he was it David Coulthard who said something like Norris is trying to play Verstappen at his own game, but he doesn't know the rules. Something like that. It was so savage. It was unbelievably savage for somebody who's supposed to remain impartial. Piastri maybe feeling the pressure a little bit, makes contact with Lawson. That drops him down a few places.
I'm letting Lawson.
But the race was actually quite boring.
It was
Verstappen
very, very
took the
dull.
lead at the start and just waltzed away. It was really post-race that things got...
They got really spicy because there was a few disqualifications.
A couple.
And it was both the McLarens, papaya rules,
both McLarens.
And this was because of a plank wear infringement. Now, there's been lots of discussion since then about this super secret little...
We're going to get there.
...device.
We're going to get there.
Which was removed.
We're going to get there.
But...
Don't you fret, pet.
But, yeah, Norris... So, Norris had 0.12 mil over... actually, no, on the right side, it was only 0.07 mil.
Yes, it was very tight. But actually, the interesting thing here is that it was the rear of Norris's car and right and left front of Piastri's car and right rear of Piastri's car. So Piastri was really low. And one of the things that they suggest about why Piastri was lower or wearing higher is because he was in the mid-pack, so he was using DRS more. So that obviously
pushes you.
So you get this big sort of as the drag comes off, the car lifts up, right? Which means then it's sucked lower, and then when you hit the brakes, the car is lower, so you get this
clunk.
Bottoming. And also Norris has a stiffer anti-dive front suspension, which we've talked about on this podcast. So less likely that when he hits the brakes, the car is going to dive more. Piastri likes a little bit of movement.
Right.
But yeah, both McLarens disqualified. 25 point swing for Max Verstappen, who wins the race, even without the disqualification, wins the race. Brings him equal with Piastri. So 104 points.
Which is insane.
In Netherlands, behind after the Netherlands Grand Prix.
Insane.
Down to 0 in 6 races?
Yeah.
7 races. 6 races, whatever it was. 6, 7 races. 6, 7. On to Qatar, which is supposed to be McLaren stronghold.
Another one.
Back to back McLaren strongholds, supposedly. Piastri takes sprint pole.
Yeah, this is Piastri's comeback.
Yeah. Max down in 6th.
Yeah.
And he just wins it from pole.
Yeah.
There you go.
Super, well, I was going to say clean, straightforward. But come, the real main event, I think maybe later we'll talk about sprints as well.
Yeah.
But Oscar also matched his efforts in sprint qualifying. In normal qualifying, put it on pole. Norris second. Verstappen recovered his performance to finish third. And in the race, Max took Lando into turn 1.
Very quickly.
It's not
immediate.
Yeah, it's not a uncommon
If there's one thing we can say about Lando Norris,
he's probably going to lose a place on the first lap.
He's probably going to lose a place. And when that place is to a 4-time world champion, that might be race over, Chief. But what was special about Qatar? You remember?
Well, they had a safety car.
Yeah, but why was the safety car critical? What was enforced in Qatar?
It was the mandatory stop. So because of the high tyre wear at the circuit, and also we've had problems in the past about spiky curbs, and we've had problems about the heat.
Yeah.
So Pirelli enforced a 25 lap maximum.
Yes.
On the tyres, including
out laps, safety car laps, VSC laps.
Yep. So safety car comes out lap 7, very, very early on. Hannah Schmidt, women in STEM.
But what's it? So before you talk about the safety car on lap 7, the Qatari, the Qatari Grand Prix was 57 laps long.
Yeah, so you had to make 2 stops.
You have to make 2 stops, but if you've got a 57 lap race and you've got a maximum tire life of 25 laps, your maximum stint lengths are 25, then 25, then 7.
Yep.
So if you're looking for your earliest possible opportunity,
then there was a safety car on lap 7.
Yeah.
So everyone and their nan pits.
Everyone and their mums is pitting around here.
Because Hannah Schmidt said so.
Because Hannah Schmidt said so.
And unfortunately, McLaren were not eavesdropping on.
They did not get the memo.
No, they were not eavesdropping on Red Bull's radio.
They're further up the pit lane, so when she passed the note down, everybody, it had already skipped them.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And
Ferrari were just thinking, we'll do it anyway.
Yeah, Ferrari would obviously being the strategic geniuses that they are. Were already completely on top of things. But McLaren do not pit.
So why is it crucial? So it's crucial that everybody pitted, because that means Max comes out in 3rd behind the 2 McLarens.
Yes.
If anybody, Ocon didn't, did he? But then he did the next lap, so it didn't matter.
There's no changes of position, but everyone is on new tyres. And for once, this is not about, okay, your tyres are faster. This is about, okay, you actually can run to the end of the race. With one more stop.
The famous
McLaren had to do 2
was,
stops.
They've lost flexibility now, right? They had to do 25-25. And McLaren were like, well, we can go whenever, if there's another safety car on this track with massive runoff areas and that has typically not had a safety car, maybe a VSC for some things, but I don't know how many safety cars they've had in Qatar, but it's not more than 1 per race.
Yeah. But so they bottled it. They've completely bottled it.
Yes.
And eventually when they did pit, because the end of their 25 first set of laps.
Yeah, then they just went,
over.
We'll do 25 laps.
Yeah.
So what flexibility were you thinking there, Chief?
So and then of course they were compromised 13, 14 seconds.
Yeah.
It was a 13, 14 second tax on their pit stops because they were running at full race speed. And that was it.
That was it. Lando comes out behind after their second. So they pitted early on the second stint.
Yeah, after 7 laps.
Because Piastri suggested it oh, if we pit early, I might be able to catch Max kind of thing. He wasn't able to catch Max.
No.
Not even a little bit. And then that dropped Lando behind Antonelli and Sainz.
Which he struggled.
Another big result from Sainz.
Of course. I mean, it's gotta last.
He struggled. Norris struggled to overtake Antonelli until Antonelli made a mistake.
Yeah.
Which was a great save, actually. I've seen the onboard and it's terrifying. Like, he's up on the curb like Max was in Mexico, and then all of a sudden the car just like snaps and he's able to... That could have been a safety car, which would have then put advantage Piastri.
Yeah.
Oscar gets out and he's just absolutely fuming. The team are nowhere to be seen. Lando disappeared off down the pit lane, helmet on, just walking down the pit lane after a P4. And left McLaren with some explaining to do.
Yeah.
And to this day, I haven't heard their explanation.
They just messed up. There was nothing to explain. They just messed up.
I've heard a lot of rumors, and I'm interested to get your thought on it. But do you think that they didn't pit Oscar because it would have disadvantaged Lando because of the way, in the same way that Antonelli pitting first disadvantaged Russell, who dropped down a few places because of the double stacking? It
made no sense not to pit Piastri.
Yes. But do you think that then they looked at that and went, well, if we pit Piastri, we have to pit Lando, Papaya rules.
But we can't. We don't want to do that because
then he'll drop. Yeah, and then it looks like we've just gone, well, we'll pit, but Lando's going to drop.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
And I've actually heard other people say things like, oh, well, they never actually got to that point because they were too busy trying to figure out if pitting was the right thing. Meanwhile, Red Bull
it's so obvious. I mean, so many of these decisions they had a safety car window.
Yeah.
And I bet you their safety car window was lap 7.
Yeah.
Because that's what made sense with the consideration of the tyre life.
Yeah. You've essentially got 7 to 25,
there's no way they were sat there going, do we pit? The answer was, we do pit. How do we pit? They couldn't work out how to pit, so then they just didn't. And
then it was too late because by that point the snake has caught the safety car, and now if you pit, you're last.
Exactly.
And you're suddenly coming away from another race weekend losing 25 points to Verstappen. Yeah.
So they shot themselves in the foot completely. And what motivated that? I don't know. Was it about Lando? Was it about Papaya rules? Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure.
Oh, steady on. Speculation. Incoming.
Probably it was that.
Yeah.
But it was not. But it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Now, if Lando was ahead.
Yeah. Would they have pit Lando?
Bear in mind, he's now leading the championship.
As speculationing person in this room right now.
Would they have pit him? I think so.
You think?
I think they would have. And I think they would have, and they would have said, look, Oscar, sorry, he's leading the championship.
Yeah.
We're worried about Max. Especially view of last week.
If Oscar just comes in, the pit crew aren't not going to service the car. They're not just going to leave him there
and just be like, in the box. What are you doing?
Like,
what are you doing?
Like, yes, they would have lost a handful of seconds because
the tires aren't
out. They're at the front of the queue and whatever else, which also doesn't help them, right? Being at the front of the queue, your window for release is minimal because you've got cars coming in down from racing speed. You've not got this. It's harder to judge because you've not got this huge piece of track that's all at the same speed. You've got a bit of track that's at full racing speed, plus then that little window of opportunity to release the car into. So I guess they're looking at it going, well, we just can't do it.
Yeah.
So maybe it doesn't always pay to be at the front of the pit lane.
Very true. Very true. But yeah, so they bottled it.
Yeah.
And that essentially meant that Oscar was in need of a bit of a miracle come the race decider.
Yeah, so it brings Max. Decider. So Max needs to win and Lando to be 4th. Oscar needs to win and Lando to be like 6th, 7th, 8th, something like that.
Basically, Lando needed a DNF.
Yeah, Max needs a 12-point advantage. Oscar needs a 16.
Yeah.
So we get to Abu Dhabi. it's the first time in most people's memory that we've had more than 2 cars fighting for the championship in the last race. The last time I remember was Abu Dhabi 2010.
Yep.
Where it was 4. There's all this hype about the person in third has been the one to win it the last few times this has ever happened. And, Kimi Räikkönen in Brazil, for instance, was third in the championship, and then the McLarens messed up. And will it be Oscar who wins his first title and whatever else? And Max puts it on pole, and it's a really great run for him. And it's like, okay, is Max going to do this? And then it's just the most boring race.
Yeah, and it is exactly as we called it.
We called it on this podcast, yeah.
Lando needed to come third. He qualified second, lost a place at the start, shock, and then finished third.
But boy, did Charles Leclerc put up a fight.
Oh man, he was gunning for it.
It was just an incident.
It was almost several incidents.
It was almost several.
Yeah, it was. It was dull. It was dull. I think this is one of the ones where the build-up completely overshadowed the race, whereas in 21, it was insane. Everything about it was insane.
But the race was pretty, apart from the opening lap where Lewis drives across the chicane and just disappears into the horizon, and the bit where Perez slows him down, and the post-safety car lap, the rest of that race is dull. The rest of that race is really dull.
Yeah, but no one thinks about it, right? I think we will think about it as... it was that normal race.
Yeah, I mean, Qatar was more exciting than Abu Dhabi.
Oh, massively.
Norris secures the third place that he needs, and he wins the title by 2 points. Further down, though, we didn't see any of it. Alonso finished in 6th. Great final result for him in Aston Martin.
That was his first, not points, but it was his high. I think it was his highest points finish of the year.
Yes. And Hamilton jumps 8 places after another Q1 elimination to finish in 8th.
Yeah, so Hammy's still got, and we'll talk about it later, but I think he's still got pretty good race pace, but his quality is shot.
Yeah. There was a little bit of a spicy moment, which brings us to our feature.
Our game.
So let's play. Tim, are you ready to be ahead at the apex?
Yeah.
Okay, phenomenal. Yuki Tsunoda, his defensive maneuver in Abu Dhabi, a la Sergio Perez from 2021.
Yeah.
But Sergio Perez from 2021 from Temu. It was not great, was it? Let's be honest. It wasn't a great defense. If his goal was to slow Norris down, it didn't work,
No. Was that because the car offset was more? Maybe. I don't know.
Did Yuki not quite know what he was supposed to do, even though he told Red Bull he knew exactly what to do?
I've got it.
Would Yuki have tried harder had he not been sacked the week before from 2026?
Who knows?
Who knows? That
is speculation.
My friend, is speculation. And I think Yuki Tsunoda would have pushed that DRS button and pushed that KERS button a lot harder if he had a drive for 2026. That's all I'm saying.
Or if it was still on the table.
Yeah. Anyway, speculation time over.
But, so, introduce the game.
Okay, so, Tsunoda's penalty, it comes from the set of driving regulations that inspired the name of this podcast. Right?
Hell yeah.
The driving standards, the driving regulations.
Everyone's favourite, Article 33.3.
Ahead at the apex. Now, technically speaking, Yuki Tsunoda and Lando Norris were not even anywhere near an apex, but it's under the same rules. Okay? So, we're going to run through the facts because this is a factual podcast.
Indeed.
And then we're going to put on our speculation hats. and we are going to decide whether or not, if we're going to put ourselves in the steward's shoes. Okay. This will come up perhaps loads next year, and we'll be able to do this again where we put on our steward's hats.
Yep.
So if this concept doesn't work, please let us know in the comments, and we will
never do
it again. Okay, so Yuki Tsunoda, judged using the driving standards guidelines that were adjusted this year So it's important to remember that because there is a lot of similarities between what Yuki was penalized for and what happened between Max and Lando last year.
Yep.
Okay. The FIA steward's decision was the driver of car 4 overtook car 22 off track. This occurred because the driver of car 22 made multiple moves defending his position against car 4. Had car 22 not made those moves, car 4 would have overtaken it without going off track, but moved off track to avoid contact. Further, the driving standards guidelines provide that if a car is forced off, which was effectively what occurred here, it is not considered to have exceeded track limits, whilst technically the overtaking took place off track. We determine, in view of the above, to take no further action. So this is the Lando overtaking Yuki investigation, right?
Yep.
So what they're saying there is, look, Yuki was doing some pretty dodgy maneuvers. We're going to give him a penalty for that because we've already, since 2021, we've said that weaving is banned on the straights.
Yeah.
Because Yuki was weaving, Lando had to overtake Yuki off track. Because he had to overtake Yuki off track, we're not going to give him a penalty.
Yep.
Okay, you with me so far?
I'm with you.
Phenomenal. This is the same regulation that Norris was penalized for at the US Grand Prix last year in 2024, when Max dived up the inside, was ahead at the apex, and forced Lando off track. Lando then put his foot down and overtook Max off track and was given a penalty. The reason that has changed is because they've adjusted what quantifies being ahead at the apex this year. Okay? So you can no longer force a driver off track in an overtake. You are just entitled to that space or not entitled to that space. So I think Leclerc and Russell in the Netherlands, think Lawson and Sainz in the Netherlands, where Sainz is trying to go around the outside and he's forced off and they make contact and it's Sainz's fault because Lawson is ahead and therefore he's entitled to the apex of the corner and the exit of the corner. So that whole forcing somebody off doesn't exist anymore. Okay? So the Tsunoda penalty, which was a 5-second penalty, the FIA rules prohibit excessive weaving on straights to defend position, allowing only one defensive move off the racing line before a corner, with more than one change considered dangerous blocking, often resulting in penalties like the black and white flag, while mild weaving to warm tyres, such as formation laps or break a toe, is sometimes permitted. It's judged on safety and intent with late sudden moves, surprising the attacker being heavily penalised. The stewards determined Yuki Tsunoda was weaving. He made more than one defensive move. But, and here's where the speculation comes in. Did Yuki do dangerous driving? And did Lando have another option? So we're going to put ourselves in the steward's shoes.
I think no and yes. I don't think it's about speculating at all. I'm not even going to put the hat on. So the key point to me is you are allowed to break the toe.
Yep.
And you are allowed one defensive move. Yuki made two moves. One of them was to break the toe.
Yep.
And one of them was in defense. Also, as Yuki was moving to the left throughout the entirety of that straight.
Yep.
Because that's the inside of the corner or the next corner.
Yep.
If I'm in Lando's shoes, I know that he's going to go to the inside of the corner.
Obviously, he's going left.
So why? And he only made the defensive move, okay, the second movement, which also was going to the left. He was still behind at this point. It was not as if the move was done while Norris was alongside him. No, Norris had nothing next to next to Tsunoda's car at this point.
Yeah.
So there is absolutely no reason I can see that Norris should have chosen to go left.
Yeah. So officially speaking, the stewards determined Yuki made 4 moves, but as you have said, he moves to the left.
Left, right, break the toe. That's one move.
He moves to the left and then he straightens.
Yeah.
That's being classed as 2 moves.
Okay.
Then he moves to the left again and then straightens. That's 2 more moves.
Okay, fine. I view the first 3 of those as toe breaking.
Yes.
And this last one as defensive.
Because Lando is so far behind the first time Yuki makes his move.
Exactly.
He's so far behind.
So I personally, I don't see why Lando should have ended up on that side of the track. As a result, I think the fact that he did was an error on his part.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, Max, Charles, George, Lewis, Fernando are all going right then.
Yes.
I'll tell you that right now.
Yes.
All of them are going right.
Piastri.
Yeah, but I mean, we saw it with Lewis, right? In 2021, when Max was weaving on that last lap, Lewis goes right.
Because
into
that's
that
the
chicane.
Obvious move.
Because that's the obvious move
because
to make.
The corner is going left.
You swing tighter on the first part of that chicane, and then you straighten up the second part into the next DRS zone.
Yep.
That is the obvious aggressor move.
Yeah. So I don't think there's any speculation here. I think they've misapplied their own rules.
Yes, and I think actually under Christian Horner,
oh, he would have gone ape shit.
Red Bull are protesting that under the clarification that all breaker toe is sometimes permitted. It's judged on safety and intent, with late and sudden moves surprising the attacker. How is that surprising?
There was no surprise. It was not late. The intent was to break the toe.
Yep. Because it's a huge straight with DRS.
Yeah.
Okay. So
as far as I'm concerned, they made the wrong decision.
Given that Yuki, we both agree that the Yuki penalty was harsh.
Yeah.
Whether or not he's given a penalty is entirely irrelevant to the next question.
Yeah.
Even though Martin Brundle would have you believe that the two are interlinked.
No, they're not.
So should Lando have been
They're
penalised?
not, and actually they were investigated separately.
They were investigated separately. This was also the same Martin Brundle who said it was unsportsmanlike for Yuki to receive time information about people who were behind him.
Yeah, but Martin Brundle is not the most impartial.
He's not.
Pundits.
So for reference, Norris overtakes on the inside of that straight, inside being the inside for the next corner.
Yeah.
He is very, very clearly over the white line because you can
He was on the grass.
You can see the blue. He's on the grass at some point. He is very clearly over the line. That is not the track.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether that's on a straight or a corner. It's not the track.
No.
And I think that's where people like Brundle get a bit confused because we're so used to seeing this. Oh, he's over the line on the exit of the corner. He's over the line on the inside of the corner. That's a time advantage. That's a time gain. On a straight, it's not a time gain, but it is still not the track.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the track is defined by the white line. If you're over the white line, you're over the white line. It's as simple as that. Whether Tsunoda pushes him with intent or without intent or should get penalized, there is enough space for Norris to have one wheel on the white line. There is half a car's width between Tsunoda and the white line.
Also, he shouldn't have been there.
He shouldn't have been there.
He shouldn't have doesn't really matter because Lando made a mistake. Overtaking on the inside on that straight was a mistake.
Yes.
And he shouldn't have been there.
Now, you could argue that if Norris is given a 5-second or a 10-second a 10-second would have changed the result of the race, but a 5-second would not have changed the result of the race. You can argue that. However, Norris still has another pit stop to make here.
Yeah.
By the time this incident occurs, Norris has another pit stop to make. And adding 5 seconds to his pit stop or adding 5 seconds to his race time if he chooses not to make a pit stop might put him behind Leclerc. This is a championship deciding moment.
Yeah, oh, massively.
And whether you like Norris or you don't like Norris or you're happy with the result or you're not happy with the result, this penalty went under the radar and it shouldn't have done.
Yeah, I think when the decision was thrown that Yuki was penalized, it was almost, and you heard it in the commentary, especially from Martin, because we are on first name basis.
You're Martin.
Me and Martin.
I've shared a plane with him.
I've shared a plane with lots of people.
Great.
But there was almost this collective sigh of relief of, oh, okay, that means he's not. Lando's not compromised.
Yeah.
And to your point, I don't think that makes sense because they were separate. They were separate investigations.
Completely.
And why when one investigation was concluded was the other just immediately concluded as well? It doesn't make sense. They presented it like, okay, we're going to investigate these separate instances. Yes, you can make the argument, okay, he was forced off, so therefore he overtook. Well, he wasn't forced off because there was about 3 car widths on the right-hand side of Sonoda. He chose to go left.
Yep.
When it was, and he made that decision too late. So he couldn't have gone right.
Yep.
So I see it. I think the letter of the law reinforces this.
Yeah.
I think Lando should have been penalised.
But also, he was forced off and therefore he had to overtake is just a nuts statement. Because what happens if there's a yellow flag, right? And a double waved yellow going into that chicane. And therefore Yuki slows down. Now, Yuki is obliged to slow down under a double waved yellow, as is Lando. But the degree by which Yuki is obliged to slow under a double waved yellow is not defined. Now, let's say Yuki's not daft about this. He realizes that if he slows down a bit more than maybe Leclerc will slow down, Leclerc will catch them, but not slow enough that he just comes to a stop. Just because Yuki has slowed down doesn't mean Lando has to overtake.
Right. Yeah.
Right? There is a slower moving car in front of you, but there is no space in the gap you are trying to get through. That does not mean that you have to overtake them.
Oh, no. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
This whole, he was forced off and he had to overtake. No, that's not the case. And actually, the FIA's steward's decision of, let me get it exactly right. Had car 22 not made those moves, car 4 would have overtaken it without going off track.
I mean,
how do you know? Right? How do you know?
Yeah, that's poor. That's poor from them.
Because Sergio Perez didn't make those moves in 2021. He gets underneath Hamilton and then dives back up the inside into turn 10 or whatever it is, the new banked corner, right? How do you know that the same thing doesn't happen again? That is a huge judgment call.
It's a huge F, and
Lando has not overtaken Max Verstappen on track, apart from in Brazil before Max pitted, all year.
Really?
All year. So
that's poor.
Please tell me how you know that this McLaren will overtake that Red Bull.
He also struggled
when it hasn't all year.
He also struggled to get past Leclerc.
Yes.
For a long time.
Yes. He struggled to get past Antonelli in a Williams last week. Like, how do you know that this is going to happen?
In a Williams.
Yeah, but
Antonelli and a Williams.
And a Williams.
I thought you said in a Williams.
No, but what we're saying is recent history, when this decision was made, has shown us that Lando Norris has not been home running overtakes, right?
Yeah.
And he has not overtaken a Red Bull on track without a strategy call all season.
I just keep going back to the fact that apparently Yuki's defensive move when Lando was 0.5 behind him
was weaving.
Well, was a defensive move, and it was not just breaking the toe.
Yeah.
How on earth can you say with 0.6 or whatever it was, he's making a defensive move at 0.6? No, he's not.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Lando's slow. He's in middle of a corner.
Yeah.
He's not making a defensive move.
Yeah.
And
he's also not moved to surprise, right? He's not moved while they're alongside. He's
just thrown it.
He's not moved in the braking zone, which is perhaps the most. I mean, these cars are unbelievably stable at VMAX.
Yeah.
Right? It's like saying, oh, it's dangerous to weave on a bike at high speed. It's not. They're so stable. They're actually less stable at slow speed.
Yeah.
Right? They're clunky at slow
especially
speed.
because
the steering doesn't work.
The aero only turns on when you hit 100 miles an hour.
Exactly. So these cars are at their most. Oh, well, people are weaving at 200 kph. Right. But these are the best drivers in the world, and these cars work best at 200 to 300 kph. So please tell me how this was dangerous, because he was so far away. Yeah, I know. It annoyed me, and you and I have spent the last 2 weeks talking about it because it bothers me.
I always think, not just this incident, but any incident, when they start bringing out the rule book,
yeah,
and everyone sort of goes, "Oh, it's not very clear. It's not very clear."
Well,
in the
make
regulation.
It clear. It's your job.
But I just disagree. I think that is really clear.
That is actually crystal clear.
If you obey the words on the page,
yeah.
Was he making multiple defensive moves? No. Was he weaving to break the slipstream?
Yes.
Is that allowed?
Yes.
Did Norris overtake off track?
Yes. But even if Yuki gets a penalty, did Norris overtake off track?
Yes.
Would Norris have made the overtake if he hadn't gone off track?
Who
knows? But the outcome is not. The outcome should not be considered. He overtook off track. How many times have we heard, oh, well, you shouldn't really consider the ramifications, right? The penalty for Hamilton hitting Verstappen in Silverstone 21 should not be any different than Lawson hitting Sainz, right? For 16th place. Because actually what the result or the expected result after the crash, or if the crash hadn't happened, should not affect the regulation on the crash. Right?
It would be interesting if they had an impartial adjudicator, which they show these investigation clips to, but they don't. They grey out the cars, they black it, and say, you don't know who's under the helmet, you don't know what car, what make, what manufacturer. I wonder if they judge it the same. I don't think they would.
I mean,
because in the same way, right? Would Massey have made the same decision if Verstappen was in fourth? No.
Well.
No. Because same idea, right?
Yeah.
The letter of the law, lapped cars are allowed to overtake. It doesn't say some. It doesn't say a few. It doesn't say the cars in between the two relevant people.
It says any, actually. And any does not mean all. But we're not getting into that.
Oh.
Because I have argued with friends over this, right? And I don't want to argue with you.
Well, it's not, but it's living in the past.
But linguistically, any is not the same word as all. Okay?
But any means...
If I said to you, go and get me some apples, and you said...
Which ones?
Which ones? And I just went, any, right?
Yeah.
That's a very different meaning than if I tell you to go and get all the apples.
No, I 100%. Right? I don't disagree. But it also means that all of the options are available.
Correct.
So...
But I like where that's going, that if Massey had, okay, this is the leader of the race. You have no idea who it is. It is just a car. And this is where second place is. And this is how many lapped cars are between first and second. This is how many are between second and third, and so on until you get to all the cars.
Yeah, this is where the lapped cars
now
are.
Make a decision. I agree that the decision is probably very different. We finished behind the safety car. That's the end of the race. I agree with you. But Massey was the race director, not the stewards.
Yeah, fine. But same idea, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone that has any authority or decision making over.
And having not been an FIA steward, I couldn't tell you what it's like in that room. But I'd like to think that is how they deal with things. This is a grayed out.
Maybe they do.
This is a grayed out car. This is a grayed out car. And if it's not, I'm disappointed. I am, because that is the way that would be the most fair, right?
Yeah.
And actually, no, we do know that that's not the case, because Herbert was one.
Yes.
And he's been accused of all kinds of things, penalising Max Verstappen for no reason, right? Because he knew it was Max. All that accusations. I'm not saying that that's what happened, but we do know that that's not the case. And actually, I think it should be, right? You don't even necessarily need to see the replay. You just need to see an animation of what happened. And these cars, well, we know.
They have so many sensors.
We know because like half an hour after qualifying finishes, we have the ghost car thing that appears online, right? Of whoever was second plus whoever got pole as the ghost car. So, yeah, we know. that they can reconstruct these models. So reconstruct that 30-second clip, but grey the cars out so you don't know who it is. And just see if the decisions are the same.
I think 2021, to go back to your Apple analogy, is you saying, but get me any apples except Pink Lady. That's what it's saying.
Yeah.
Get me any apples means any of the choices are available, not okay, give me any of them, but actually don't give me these ones because these ones they're not close enough to the aisle.
What he should have done.
Red flag. You should have red flagged it and they have 5 laps. Everyone's in agreement with that. We all, I'm not going over 21, but yes, there seems to be another, and it's annoying because it's the only other season that's been close into the end of the year in the last 5 years. And we have, of those 2 incidents, there have been 2 elements of judicial, I don't want to say error, but judicial compromise.
Yeah.
Which ultimately is what defines the race. It's not the person winning. It's the fact that we're talking about it. I'm sure a lot of people have spoken about this.
Yeah.
Is going, yes, but did they deserve it? And that's rubbish. That's like you said earlier. If you're happy, you're not happy, whatever. But even if you were supporting someone else, if the right driver or the right person or the right team won, you can get over that, right? Which is in the same way when you look back at 22, 23, in this era of Red Bull dominance, no one was upset that they won. Everyone went, obviously they won.
Max again,
Everyone was, okay, it's a bit boring, but no one was upset about who won.
No.
Because everyone went, do you know what? They are the best team with the best car with the best driver.
Yeah.
So there was no dispute. There was nothing to fight about or discuss or debate. Whereas it just seems like the FIA cannot help themselves.
No.
In just because is it? I don't know. Did it fall into it? Maybe. Who knows? But it just seems like the second they're at 100% strike rate in terms of creating some controversy in the final race of the year, and that's not a good statistic.
It's not. No, it's not. Should we move it on?
Let's move it on
because I think we're getting dangerously close to reopening any all.
Any all.
Okay, the legend, the runner-up, and the rookie. Tim, where does this quote come from? So
this is, if you haven't seen it, the opening scene of Cars when they are explaining the Piston Cup. Everyone's on joint points. 2021 style. And they have this very dramatic thing saying, okay, so we have the king who is he's
been Danico's golden boy for years. Can you tell I haven't told
Weathers? He's kind of been the dominant force. He's the older, more established driver.
Yep.
Max Verstappen in this
instance,
3-way fight. You then have Chick Hicks, who is the person that came second a lot of the time. So, Lando sort of almost ended up with that one on the basis that Piastri was the rookie because he was the newcoming driver. And also from last year, it makes sense.
In Cars, Chick Hicks is clearly a little bit younger than the king, but not by much, not compared to McQueen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's this, there is this thing. You're quite right. So the runner-up, Chick Hicks, is Lando, and the rookie is Piastri.
Which makes sense when you think about last year, obviously. Lando came second to Max.
Correct. And this you and I have shared it to each other 10 times. We forget we've shared it to each other and it comes back around again and we send it to each other again.
It's a super cool edit.
But it is a super cool edit, and I think it first appeared sort of maybe even after Japan when Max had won a couple, Piastri had won a couple, Norris had won one, and
he won in Australia.
There was this whole this is how the season's going to go, and I've actually seen it for 2007. for Raikkonen and Hamilton and Alonso, right? Where Alonso's the king and
Hamilton's the rookie. And Kimi's chick kicks.
Yeah, I know.
So chick kicks has won both times.
Both times to 100% strike record. There you go. There's your thing.
Make sure you chick kicks.
Anyway, the comparison is actually insane because in cars, in the final title decider for cars, you've got the rookie McQueen who disappears off the story of the film, and he goes to find himself and find that pace again and come back stronger, and he's been there on just sheer pace alone and bold luck, right? And he has this whole life-changing moment in the film and whatever else, and he comes back and he's got a different attitude and he's back on form and whatever else. Yeah. You've got the king who is leading the race, for the most part of it, and sort of McQueen says, I think it's right that the king finishes his last race or whatever, and I'm not saying that Verstappen's retiring, but it's kind of like Oscar was the guard who allowed Max to win the last race of this era of cars and whatever else. He was never there to challenge. He didn't even try and put up a fight against Max towards the end when Max was like, oh, I wonder if I'll pit or not, and Oscar stayed out for ages on hards and all that kind of thing. And then you got Chick Hicks, who eventually wins the race in the film, but he wins the title, and then nobody likes that and nobody celebrates, and why is everyone celebrating but me kind of thing, and I've seen that with the podium of Lando stood by himself and nobody is cheering.
Yeah, and of course that's not nice either.
That's not nice either, and I'm not saying that Lando and Chick Hicks are remotely the same personality-wise.
No.
But it's crazy how that reel started in like April.
Yes, and it did come all the way through.
Yeah, it's not the only comparison I want to make. I've just made the 2007 one, but it's maybe a bit old for you. But the comparison to Hamilton is crazy because Hamilton obviously won in 2008, but the fact that reel works for both 2007, Hamilton's first season, and Norris's first championship win. But there are a lot of similarities, right, Tim, between Hamilton and Norris?
The one that I always thought of was Brawn with. It's almost the same teams. Obviously, Brawn turned into Mercedes, but obviously McLaren were very, very dominant first half of the year. Technical advantage, mostly about tyre wear and pace being stronger than most others. And then come the summer break, they just sort of lost a lot of that advantage to Red Bull.
McLaren won 3 races in the second half of the season.
That's crazy. So they lost it, or Brawn lost their advantage to Red Bull. And then there was a charging Red Bull, which
almost got him.
Very, very almost. If there was one race more,
what was the gap?
Would have got
you
them.
Keep going.
And I mean, it's. No, if I didn't say Brawn, then you probably would have thought, oh yeah, he's talking about last year. Because it's almost exactly the same. I think the fact that Max only lost by 2 points from a 104-point deficit.
Vettel lost by 11 points.
Okay,
in 2009.
But it's insane. It's
absolutely
crazy.
Insane. So the Hamilton, the further similarities between Hamilton, which I don't want to compare Norris and Hamilton, because even though I'm not a huge Hamilton fan, I can appreciate that there is a very big skill difference between Hamilton and Norris, just from what we've seen so far. But both drivers won their first title with McLaren, powered by Mercedes engines. There's been no McLaren champion in between. Both drivers won the season opener in Australia on the 16th of March.
Oh.
Both claimed their second win of the season in Monaco on the 25th of May. Both crashed out of the Canadian Grand Prix. Both claimed their first British GP win on the 6th of July. And both clinched their maiden titles at the final race.
That is pretty nuts.
That is a lot of similarities, isn't it?
That is a lot of similarity. I mean, the dates lining up.
The dates is crazy.
Crazy.
It's crazy. And I think we've seen some of these statistics before, and we've tried to work out how likely it is that those dates even line up on the same weekend, never mind the same Grand Prix, because of leap years and because of just it's highly it's highly unlikely. Yeah. I like the Braun comparison. I like the 2007 similarities. I like the Lewis Hamilton similarities. I think there's, history does repeat itself, and I am old enough now to see that happen. Right.
Well, one of the things that I find exciting is can we use that history to predict?
Yeah.
So what happened after all of these comparisons? Well, we had a lone driver win.
Yes.
And there's lots of talk about George Russell.
Well, you're absolutely right. So Lewis wins in 2008, and it's been McLaren, Ferrari, Renault for ages. And then along comes Jenson Button in a Mercedes, essentially.
Yeah.
Who wins a standalone title.
Is this George Russell's time? I mean, the rumours would have you believe.
I have made my predictions already and predicted that George will win the title next year.
I think he's good enough to.
I think Mercedes are good enough to again.
I think they seem ready.
And if they get it right, they can Braun GP this. No problem.
Yes, they're going to have a charging, probably Max Verstappen behind them.
Yeah, so we either get George and a Braun, or we get another McLaren driver winning, because it's either the 07 or the 08 thing.
Or Isaac Hadjar just storms it. He's Sebastian Vettel's it. 4 world championships in a row.
So if we go on the 2008 prediction, so we have George in a silver Mercedes powered car. And then it would be a Red Bull driver who has yet to prove himself, but spends most of the interim season proving himself, who's just moved up from Toro Rosso, as Vettel did in 08, and then chased down Braun in 09, going on a 4 championship streak. If history repeats, Isaac Hadjar, World Drivers' Champion 2027.
I can't imagine that Hadjar will outperform Max, but it would be a lovely story. I like Hadjar.
You're thinking that Max is still there in 2027. I think Max is,
he's going to his WEC era.
His WEC era. Right. Conspiracy time. You want to put your tinfoil hat on?
Yeah. Oh, I've got a fabric one over here, actually.
I mean, I like this conspiracy theory, even if there's no way physically that it can be true because just of how it's worked out. But we've already discussed McLaren double ESQ in Vegas, yeah?
We have.
And you briefly mentioned this
secret button they had.
Potential secret button. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let's not
open
ourselves up to some legal action. Zach Brown is American.
Rando!
So do you remember back to Miami? I know it's a long time ago now.
I do. Kimi Antonelli, first podium.
Yeah. Do you remember Zach Brown drinking water out of a bottle that was branded tire water? You remember that whole rumor?
That was weird.
That was weird, right? So the rumor was McLaren were able to look after their rear tires better than anybody else because they had some sort of device that was cooling the rear brakes, which, yes, do less work than the front brakes. And that means that the heat dissipation is less, so the tires get hotter less, and therefore wear less. I know I said that a weird way, but I'm trying to emphasize that everything is less on the rear tires. Thus, the rear tire stays newer for longer and gives you better traction coming out of a corner. However, even though that was proved to be wrong, clearly McLaren were doing something good to make their car significantly better than everybody else's. And of course, people start to watch and people start to pay attention and people start to take professional grade pictures of the McLaren at various tracks and send them back to the teams, and people start to analyze, and all it takes is for one time somebody to put McLaren in a wall and for it to get lifted out, and then suddenly you can start to see things and predict behaviors. Anyway, it was noticed that McLaren were able to run lower, and we've already talked about their special front suspension. That means that
Yeah.
When they hit the brakes, the car doesn't lunge as far forwards as it would if it were anything else, and therefore the front of the car can be lower, and therefore the floor can do more work, right? You've seen I've put in a little picture.
You have.
I'm not allowed to put this picture on the podcast. I didn't get permission to use this picture.
Okay.
But
We
would
can
you like to
describe
describe
the
the
picture.
picture?
So it's Oscar Piastri's race seat imaged from behind. So this would be beneath the seat.
Correct.
And it seems to be wrapped in a lot of metallic foil,
Gold.
specifically gold. Why gold?
Great question. We're both physicists, so you should be able to tell me the answer
Well,
to this.
gold is a very good conductor.
Yes,
So it will move heat
it will.
quite efficiently.
It will. So what does that tell you about the floor underneath Oscar Piastri?
It's probably getting a bit toasty.
He's probably getting a bit toasty, right?
Why have you got to move heat if there's not enough heat?
Correct. So clearly, McLaren's floor is getting a bit hot. And what could possibly get hot on a carbon fiber floor with a wooden plank on it?
Ooh, maybe the wooden bit.
Well, I'm thinking the bits that are attached to the wooden bit that maybe get hot.
Well,
You know,
everything's going to get warm.
There's metallic skid plank wear block indicator devices that the FIA put on there, for instance. They
Very
probably get pretty hot, right?
Oh, yeah. Especially when you're smacking them against the floor.
You're smacking them against the floor. Okay, so I'm going to butcher this name. I'm going to call them Rueda because that's their surname. They are Sauber's sporting director, and they are quoted as saying, any team that has been able to pivot to the front means they are able to run lower than the rest of us. Most of the downforce comes from the rear of the floor where you want it to be close to the ground, so the main wear should be there. A lot of effort is spent to migrate that work to the front so you can run lower. You want a floor that produces loads of downforce at the rear without squatting and wearing. You need to find a way that you're still running downforce in the back, but your point of contact is the front. It's all suspension movement kinematics. This is exactly what we've been saying about McLaren's front suspension. So as the fuel burns off, obviously the back of the car raises up. But as the car accelerates, the back of the car goes down because you're squatting the car. But typically you want the rear of the car to be low, but it can't be low if all these other things are going to make it lower. So therefore you're not working the floor as hard. But if you can shift a bunch of that weight and a bunch of that suspension work to the front, and you can make your rear suspension really stiff so that it doesn't squat, and you can still work on that balance, all of a sudden you can run your car really low where the downforce is working properly.
Yeah.
Okay. So McLaren has gone extreme in the anti-dive. We've talked about this already, allowing them to run with a very flat aerodynamic platform with less dive under braking. The front can be lower, shifting the plank wear towards the front. So if they got it right, why were they disqualified in Vegas, Tim?
Well, they didn't get it right. So there were some things that either their defense was not working, their calculations were wrong, something. But there were a few rumors that went around.
Sure.
One of them, and the main one, was that they had some sort of device that would expand
I love this.
while heating, which is not, that happens in materials, that because it's bigger, it will protect more or to a greater extent the plank. So this was after Brazil, and it actually was not just a McLaren point. It was the multiple people were using these titanium skid blocks, which would protect the plank and allow them to run lower, therefore being more efficient.
They're running essentially an extra piece of, they're running a special type. So they're all titanium. These skid blocks are all titanium, and they're around the floor. And essentially they're trying to protect this wooden plank, right, from wearing too much, because that's where the chassis all bolts into. I still don't know why it's wooden. The 30 years I've been watching this sport. Anyway, the titanium is what you see spark, but as Tim said, there are these teams that were supposedly running a different surface of titanium that would expand when it gets hot, more so than the skid block does, and then thus creating a thicker barrier and allowing you to run close to the ground. The problem with this is, if you've got something this thick, this is an emphasis because it's 10, we're talking about millimeters. You got something this thick on the bottom of your floor, and you want this thing to be as close to the floor as possible, and you go ahead and stick something like this on top. That really defeats the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So that was obviously not true. We've had moving skids. Do you remember the Ferrari and the Red Bull last year or something, where Mercedes kicked off and then Red Bull just went, yeah, no problem. And then, it was 23 because it was the Belgian Grand Prix, and Red Bull went, yeah, no problem. We don't need it. It's just we're just running it because we have it. Like, we don't need it. And then Max just monsters the entire field of Belgium. Yeah. So that was a skid block on the end of the wooden plank that would deflect under high downforce. So as the car goes under high downforce, the floor goes like this. So the skid blocks at the front and skid blocks at the rear actually move away from the ground, so the car can run lower without. It's the Ferrari fuel burn trick, right?
Yeah.
You move the thing that the FIA measures out of the way so that if it wears, the FIA don't catch you, and then the floor wears, but who cares? The FIA don't measure the floor; they measure the blocks. Yeah, I mean, will we ever find out if McLaren were doing anything dodgy? Probably not.
No.
But it is likely that they just were feeling some pressure from Red Bull and had to push things.
I think they just pushed it. Yeah,
the
I think they just pushed it. They just pushed it too far.
Yeah. And
I think they just got the number wrong.
by doing, Vegas was a bumpy track. You and I can't remember. No, Vegas was early in the morning. We weren't together. For Vegas.
No.
But we were messaging, and you and I both went, God, Piastri is sparking a lot.
Oh, yeah. He was, I mean, it felt like he was dragging himself along the floor.
Yeah. And it was just, it was insane. But obviously, again, he was wearing more because of the DRS, as we talked about. I just think Red Bull pushed them, right? Red Bull continued to upgrade that car, and they pushed them to a point they weren't comfortable with.
Yep.
So they themselves started to panic, and we've talked on this podcast about were McLaren ready? No, they just managed to just hold on to it, right? They weren't ready because they panicked in Vegas when Max was faster than them. I just thought it was nice to bring up some conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
But we're going to round off this podcast with Lewis Hamilton. Boy, oh boy.
It was far from the idyllic.
Was the world hyped for Lewis Hamilton? I mean, not me, but was the world hyped for Lewis Hamilton in 2024 when it was announced he was going to Ferrari?
Yes.
It was one of the biggest sporting moves of all time. Boosted Ferrari's stock price, boosted Hamilton's stock price.
Everything.
The most successful team of all time with the most successful driver of all time.
It was the movie-like move. And
Right.
we spoke about this at the start of the year with the Mark move. Actually, the first one we ever recorded.
Yeah.
And it's sort of almost a polar opposite between the two of them, because Mark's had a phenomenal year, completely dominant. At times felt like he didn't have to be there and he'd still win. Hamilton has been the complete opposite.
Yeah.
He's really struggled with mainly qualifying. His race pace has been pretty strong, generally speaking, I think. But his qualifying's been
Terrible.
bad.
Absolutely terrible.
Bad. And, well, this is often said that when you get a bit older, is it more risk averse? Is it your reaction slow? Whatever it might be. But it's often the qualifying pace that goes first.
Yeah.
And is this just he's overstaying his welcome a bit?
Maybe.
He's not quite got that edge anymore. Or is it that the car's just not clicking with him It just doesn't seem to work well.
Yeah.
Or is it just the car is not a qualifying car and Charles Leclerc
The GOAT.
is just completely dragging it through? Who knows?
Yeah.
I think it's probably a bit of all of them.
I mean, look, Leclerc's qualifying results are not anything to shout home about. 7th, 6th, 4th, 3rd, 4th, 8th, 11th, 2nd, 7th, 8th, 2nd, 6th, 3rd, 1st, 6th, 4th, 10th, 7th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 9th, 10th, 5th.
So you average out at sort of 5th.
Yeah, his average is 5th. Yeah.
5th.
Yeah. With a pole in Hungary.
Yeah.
Which was out of nowhere. Completely unexplainable, not repeatable.
But Hamilton, I think his average would probably be 12th.
9th.
Oh, okay.
So Hamilton's quality record is 8th, 5th, 8th, 9th, 7th, 12th, 12th, 4th, 5th, 5th, 4th, 5th, 16th, 12th, 7th, 5th, 12th, 6th, 5th, 3rd, 13th, 20th, 18th, 16th.
Yeah, okay. So there was a bit of recency bias on my point.
There is, yeah. But I mean, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 Q1 eliminations.
He had a few of those at Mercedes.
5 Q2 eliminations.
He had a few Q1s at Mercedes in his last year, if you remember.
Yeah.
Which to me means it's not just a car thing; it's a him
Lewis
thing.
He's never got on board with these regulations.
Nope.
This is his first season without a podium.
Which is nuts.
In
Nuts
19
statistics.
seasons.
That's nuts. Absolutely crazy.
It's his third season without a win in four years. So 2 at Mercedes, 1 with Ferrari. Leclerc has had 7 podiums, 2 second places, 5 third places. There is nearly 100 points difference between the pair of them.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's a nightmare for Hamilton, right? It has to be. There was all this promise, there was all this hype, and it's just not come to fruition.
It's not delivered.
It's the first year, right? And you know, Schumacher did not dominate in his first year at Ferrari either.
Maybe the new regulations, maybe the... But
Maybe Vettel did win in the first year with Ferrari. Just saying. Anyway.
But I don't think that he could have stayed at Mercedes.
No. It was done with Mercedes. I think maybe a move to Red Bull would have been interesting.
But
that was just never going to happen.
I don't think he would have done it.
A move to McLaren would have brought him a title this year.
Well,
speculationing.
But they weren't open to it.
They weren't open
to it. So then you kind of do get left with Ferrari. Or he does the Fernando Alonso thing of go and pray on Newey.
Yeah, so I understand this argument of, well, I'm not sure that I do by the end of the season, but at the start of the season, I can kind of believe, okay, the first race, the buttons are in a different place, the car behaves differently, but at a certain point, those excuses run thin, and I've said that.
Yeah.
I've said that on this podcast before about Sainz.
Yeah.
Sainz is the only one I can compare him to, and his first half was retirement 10th, 14th, retirement 8th, 9th, 8th, 10th, 14th, 10th, DNS 12th, 18th, 14th. But his post-summer break has been 13th, 11th, 3rd, 10th retired, 17th, 13th, 5th, 3rd, 13th. For a Williams that finished 5th, finishing in the mid-pack consistently with a couple of DNS was an electrical fault. 2 retirements were crashes with other people. 1 retirement was a crash by himself in his first race for Williams. Hamilton has not been that good. Not relative to his teammate. I mean, Sainz finished within 10% of his teammates' points. Lewis did not. Nearly 50% of his teammates' points. The results are just not there. Sainz's qualifying is 10th average. Lewis is 9th. There is something wrong there.
Yeah, that doesn't sit right.
When Ferrari are finishing 4th best team and Lewis's qualifying place is 1 place lower than that, and Williams are finishing 5th best team and Sainz is bang on the mark for qualifying, something is wrong. Yeah. I don't know. Time will tell about 2026, but I think Williams are on the up. I think Ferrari might get it right. They might not, but Lewis is on the down.
We spoke about this last time as well, about Ferrari. Is they seem to not build a regulation car. They just build...
Yeah.
They find a loophole and they exploit the loophole, and then eventually the loophole gets closed because it's a loophole, and they have nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, and maybe Fred's going to pull that around, but I think that was definitely a Mattia plan. That was his playbook.
Yeah.
And even before that, with the whole fuel injection thing.
Yes.
It was like, just build the car.
So you think Williams next year? Williams to challenge the big boys?
Well, I'd like to see it. I think with the Mercedes power unit, which supposedly is the best one, I think we'll be seeing a lot of Williams, a lot of Mercedes, a lot of McLaren.
Yeah.
Alpine, maybe, now that they've moved over.
Maybe they get it right. Maybe Alpine are the GOAT next year.
I don't
Maybe
think
Pierre
so.
Gasly wins the...
I don't think so. But I like Pierre Gasly. Title.
No, I agree.
But I think, I think that if Hamilton has another bad season, he'll pick it up. He'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
And I love James Vowles.
Couldn't agree more. I don't have any more.
That's it.
I have no more notes. That is our last proper podcast.
Congratulations.
Proper. We do have our end of season Formula One ratings to come.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, we're recording them
now
in half an hour. We're taking a half-hour break. But that's okay. It's okay to bring that cloud of showmanship up and reveal the underpants of the podcast, right? It's okay to do. I don't know. I'm going for is it a metaphor where it's two metaphors crammed together, but you still understand it? Is it a metaphor?
Douchey is what it is.
You're douchey. No, we are. Oh, it's been a long year, man. It's been a long year. We
see you in March.
Yes.
We'll probably do some testing stuff as well.
We will do some testing stuff. Obviously, driver review ratings coming out a week after this one.
Yep.
And then a best of predictions that we made throughout the year about what was going to happen in the year, which
we got pretty much all right.
Just to round off season 1 of Ahead at the Apex. And then we will come back with more ideas.
Same again, but better.
We have to change our theme song. I haven't told you this yet.
I like our theme song,
but we have to change it.
That's okay.
We've it's copyright free music and I have permission to use it, but YouTube doesn't like that I have permission to use it.
Right.
So to stop getting email notifications to say that my upload has been banned in Botswana, I need to
no. Shout out to our Botswana fans.
I need to change the music. I haven't told you that yet, but now you know.
I like the music.
If you like the podcast, give us a 5-star review on Spotify. Give us a comment. Leave us some feedback. If you didn't like the podcast, leave a 5-star review on Spotify.
But feedback would be helpful.
But give us some feedback. If you want to get in touch with us, you can get in touch with us on Instagram or Twitter at AATApex. You can get in touch with us via the comments section underneath this podcast on Spotify, underneath this podcast on YouTube. You can read about all the stories we discuss, all the topics we discuss. You can look at our statistics. You can look at some nice pictures of Oscar Piastri's race seat when I find one that I have permission to use at blog.headattheapex.com. All I have left to say is thank you to Tim for joining me for yet another. This is like 6 in a row. Well done, you.
Yeah, I've been pretty good.
You've been pretty consistent.
I mean, look, I was away.
How dare you take holiday time?
There was one. No. There was one holiday. Yeah,
you took one holiday because you were telling me you were in Italy.
I was in Italy. Yeah, it was great. I had lots of nice food.
And yeah, we'll see you next episode for the F1 ratings.
Yes, sir.
Peace.